Welcome into the PFF 50 brought to you by thru. We know you love football, and at PFF we deliver insights you won't get anywhere else. And if you love beer, you need to check out thru. They deliver the world's best and hardest to find craft beers right to your doorstep. You choose how much, how often, and what style. Just go to thru.com and get $10 in beer money after spending $25 when you enter the promo code PFF50. All right, Sam, it's the PFF 50 countdown. We're down to our top 20. Let's remind everybody, what exactly is the PFF 50?
Yeah, simply put, it is a list of the 50 best players entering the NFL season in 2019. It's not about 2018 grades. It's not about positional value. It's about just who are the best players in the league right now.
And you'll see some grades up here that are the 2018 grades, but we've taken multiple years to help project us looking forward. So let's get right into it. Be sure to check out the other videos, by the way, on the countdown. But we're now down to number 20. We're down to Chris Jones of the Kansas City Chiefs. He has emerged as one of the best interior defensive linemen in all of football. 91 grade just last season and continuing to get better. 74 pressures, was third among all defenders last year. Number 2 pass rush grade at 91.5. Yes, he had the 16 sacks, but he was creating disruption throughout the entire season. He's also been a solid run defender. So Chris Jones, we loved him coming out of Mississippi State, and he's making us look really good as he emerges as one of the best interior linemen in the league.
Number 19, a more established star, but in a new place. We got Odell Beckham Jr. in his new Cleveland Browns getup. And you can get your own Cleveland Browns getup with Odell Beckham Jr. on it in the PFF store. We've got a pretty special t-shirt that you guys could grab. Become something special when it comes to the PFF merchandise. But Odell Beckham Jr., I think, is going to be absolutely spectacular this year. If you look at what he's done the past few seasons in New York, over the last 3 years, he's second in the NFL in terms of broken tackles after the catch with 53. He's 7th in yards per route run, and that was with Eli Manning as his quarterback. Eli Manning has been bad the past few years. Definitely a huge upgrade going to Baker Mayfield. We could see his stats absolutely explode this season. That's why Odell Beckham is higher than a lot of other wide receivers that he hasn't necessarily been as productive or graded as well as over the past couple of seasons.
Yeah, he's poised for a huge season with Baker Mayfield. Let's get to number 18. Now we're into some of the prototypes around the NFL. Earl Thomas, he is our prototypical free safety, was limited to just over 200 snaps last year, but was excellent when he was out there. We've got 5 grades of 88 plus as a coverage defender throughout his career. I mean, he's the guy that everybody in the NFL is looking for, that style as a free safety, the range, the instincts, the ability to make plays on the ball. Even only playing 237 snaps last year, still had 3 interceptions and a pass breakup. So Earl Thomas, even into his 30s, has plenty of good football left. Got to stay healthy, but he's the guy that you're looking for on the back end of your defense. That's why he's in the top 20.
If there's anybody on this list that's still relying on a little bit of goodwill going back into their past, it's Aaron Rodgers. And I think this is a big season for Aaron Rodgers. We've finally gotten rid of the coaching question mark. We've gotten rid of the idea of how much of this, the relative struggles in Green Bay, is Aaron Rodgers, how much of it is the scheme, how much of it is the lack of talent and the fact that the offense isn't helping him out by getting guys open. We've got a new system, we've got a new coach in town. We're going to really see the answer to that question. But the bottom line is Aaron Rodgers is a spectacular talent when he's 100% healthy and when he's playing at his best. If you go back just a couple of seasons to 2016, you have his grade of 91.4. Last year he was 89.7, not quite at that level, but we're basically giving Aaron Rodgers the benefit of the doubt that the most talented quarterback in the NFL is still a top 20 player in the NFL as of right now that he's in this new system.
And don't forget, on this list, we're not going to overrate quarterbacks. It's not just about value. All positions essentially created equal. I like Rodgers at 17. I think it's a good spot for him because any given year, he could be the best guy. Let's go to number 16. I think maybe the most underrated player in the NFL. He's not underrated here at PFF because he's got 3 straight years of 90-plus grades, but Cameron Jordan of the New Orleans Saints, a guy with a pretty big body type. He's got this defensive interior type of body, but he can rush off the edge. He is fantastic getting after the quarterback. Number 7 pass rush grade among all edge defenders over the last 2 seasons. Strong against the run. You know, he has emerged as one of the best players on the edge consistently year over year, and it was a little unexpected. He was on his way to a solid career for the Saints, and all of a sudden, 3 straight elite grades. So Cameron Jordan getting his just due at number 16.
Number 15, we've got one of the best young defensive backs in the game. We've got Jalen Ramsey, who's putting up some pretty impressive statistics over his first few seasons. 42 combined interceptions and pass breakups over 3 years, allowing 53.8% of targets sent his way to be caught. Those are pretty spectacular numbers, and he's doing it going up against some pretty elite wide receivers in that division. Those back and forths he's had with DeAndre and Nuke Hopkins have been pretty spectacular to watch. So a bit of a down year a season ago, just 72.8 in terms of PFF grade, but Jalen Ramsey is one of the best defenders in all of football.
I think that's important to know with the cornerbacks because 2-year sample sizes are way more important because Ramsey was 90 plus in 2017 because you're going to compare him right now to STEPHON Gilmore, who was our highest rated corner last year. But you throw those multiple years in there and it's really close between these two guys. But Gilmore allowed only 44% completions last year in a scheme that asked him to play more man coverage than anybody else. That's what the Pats do. They man up against the opposing offense. 90.8 grade, including the playoff, 20 pass breakups, and a pass rating of only 65 into his coverage. So Gilmore taking to that New England scheme extremely well.
If Cameron Jordan is one of the most underrated players in the NFL, I'm going to give you another one, this time on the offensive side of the ball. We've got David Bakhtiari, who, offensive line, I think, is where PFF really shines, right? Because that's where actually watching and grading every single play is what starts to build up the picture of players that you just don't notice because you're following the ball, you're not really paying attention to what happens unless they get beaten for sacks. But if you look at the last 3 years in terms of PFF pass blocking grade, number 1, David Bakhtiari, and by a distance, his grade is 96.5. Number 2, Joe Thomas. So when you're distancing Joe Thomas, he had already become the gold standard of pass blocking before Joe Thomas finally ended his career. But that's the level we're talking at with David Bakhtiari. He is the best pass blocking tackle in the NFL. He's taken that mantle from Joe Thomas. He's become a pretty good run blocker as well, and really has just become this all-round phenomenal player. But because he's an offensive lineman, because he doesn't have the pedigree of that top 5 overall draft pick, we don't really notice it yet.
Well, we have, though. Number 13 for Bakhtiari. I love it. All right, coming in at number 12, more of the guys that get the spotlight again. Michael Thomas of the New Orleans Saints, 91.6 grade last year, number 2 in the NFL. He was just so efficient, Sam. 86% of his targets were caught. That is an incredible number for a non-running back. Yeah, he wasn't down, making plays down the field as much as some of the other receivers, but incredible at the short and intermediate range. Passer rating of 124.5 when targeting him. You talk about some of these older quarterbacks like Breeze, like Brady. When you have a weapon like Michael Thomas, it eases, the aging process just a little bit. Michael Thomas is the go-to guy in New Orleans by a wide distance and incredibly productive over the last few seasons.
Number 11, the final guy on this part of the top 50 is Von Miller. The best way of quantifying Von Miller is Aaron Donald gets more pressure than anybody else in all of football, regardless of position. Von Miller is next. So outside of Aaron Donald, Von Miller gets the most pressure of anybody in the NFL, basically almost regardless of what period you look at. He has just been consistently an amazing amount of pressure throughout his career, is arguably the best pure pass rushing edge defender in the NFL, can win with speed to the outside, has those incredible inside moves, doesn't do it with the spin as often as a guy like Dwight Freeney, but he has the same inside counter, which just makes life a nightmare for offensive tackles. So Von Miller still a top 11 player in the NFL.
He is really close to that other edge defender that I think is going to show up in the top 10. So there you have it. It's 11 through 20 in the PFF 50. It's all brought to you by thru.